The hunt begins. The forest was dark. The air smelled of metal and blood. Leaves shook as something heavy moved through the shadows. A man ran. His breath was fast. His steps were uneven. His name was Ethan, and tonight he was not a man. He was prey. Behind him, alien hunters laughed. Their voices were sharp, cold, and cruel. They carried long spears made of black metal, glowing at the tips. They moved like shadows, faster than any human should face. To them, this was not war. This was sport. One alien shouted, "Run, little human, run faster. The hunt has just begun." Ethan's legs burned. His body ached. His shirt was torn, and blood ran down his arm. He had been running for hours, but he did not stop. If he stopped, he would die. Above the trees, strange lights flickered. Alien drones scanning, watching the hunt like a game. Somewhere far away, other aliens cheered, betting on how long the human would last. Ethan could hear them. Their words cut deep. Humans are weak. They are only animals. They are made to be hunted. Every insult burned in his chest. Every laugh was a knife, but inside Ethan's eyes, there was no fear now. There was something else, something waiting, something cold. He reached a small stream and dropped to his knees. He drank quickly, his reflection shaking in the water. For a moment, he saw himself broken, hunted, desperate. But then he whispered, "No, I am not prey. Not anymore." The sound of leaves crunching behind him forced him to move. Ethan pushed deeper into the forest. The aliens followed. Their tall frames bent low, their four glowing eyes sweeping the ground. They did not hurry. They thought they had all the time in the world. To them, the human was already dead, but Ethan was planning. Every step he took, every tree he touched. He remembered. He was mapping the ground, searching for anything that could help him fight back. He had no weapons, only broken sticks, stones, and his mind. The forest grew thicker. Strange plants glowed with pale light, and giant roots twisted across the ground. Ethan stumbled but kept moving. He grabbed a sharp rock, hiding it in his hand. Suddenly snap. A spear struck the tree beside him, glowing bright. The wood cracked. Ethan rolled to the ground, dirt covering his face. The alien hunter laughed. "Too slow, human." Ethan's heart pounded. He was cornered. 3 hunters stepped out from the shadows, tall, armored, moving with confidence. Their teeth were sharp. Their claws shone in the pale light. One raised his spear. End of the game. Ethan looked up at them, breathing hard. His hands shook, but not with fear, with rage. He remembered Earth. He remembered his people taken, his friends dragged away in chains. He remembered his brother, hunted and killed for sport, his screams echoing in the night. That something inside Ethan broke. Something else woke up. He stood slowly. His eyes locked on the alien who raised the spear. He whispered again, but this time louder, "I am not prey." The aliens laughed, confused by his defiance. But in that laugh was their first mistake. Ethan threw the rock. It struck one alien's glowing eye. The creature roared in pain, stumbling back. Ethan did not wait. He ran into the trees, vanishing into the dark. The aliens shouted and chased after him, angry now. Their laughter was gone. Ethan's chest rose and fell, his body shaking, but he smiled for the first time that night. He had drawn blood. The forest stretched wide, filled with shadows and danger, but Ethan was ready. He whispered to himself as he ran, "They think I'm prey. They think I will break, but I will not. I will make them fear me. I will turn their hunt into a war." The camera in the sky followed him, the alien audience watching. But what they saw now was not prey. What they saw was the beginning of something far more dangerous, For the first time, the hunters felt a spark of unease, and Ethan, leading but unbroken, disappeared into the dark forest, his mind already planning the next move. The hunt was not ending. The hunt was changing. Asterisk the cage of fear. The night ended with fire in the sky. Alien ships circled above the forest, their bright lights cutting through the darkness like blades. The ground shook as engines roared. Ethan had escaped one group of hunters, but he was not free. Not yet. A sharp pain shot through his chest when a net slammed down from above. The metal wires tightened like a snake, shocking his body with burning energy. His body convulsed. He tried to fight, but the net was too strong. Voices echoed above him. Alien hunters laughed again, caught him alive. Prey always thinks it can run. Ethan was dragged across the dirt, his body leaving a long trail. He clenched his teeth, his mind whispering, "Not over. Not yet." The prison was not a building. It was a hole, a deep pit carved into the rock, surrounded by high metal walls. Inside, dozens of humans crouched in the dirt, their faces pale, their eyes hollow. Some were sick, some were broken. All carried the same mark of despair. When Ethan was thrown into the pit, dust rose around him. The humans looked at him in silence. New prey. Another one to die. A child whispered, "They caught another one." An older man shook his head. "Doesn't matter. None of us leave this place." Ethan pushed himself up, his body screaming in pain. His hands were raw, his chest burned, but his eyes were alive. "Where is this?" he asked, his voice hoarse. Woman answered with a bitter laugh. This is the cage of fear. We wait here until they release us into the hunt." Her words cut like knives. Ethan looked around. The walls were too high to climb. The top was guarded by alien warriors. Strange glowing lights floated above, watching, recording. He sat down, his back against the wall. Around him, people whispered. He heard fragments of stories, hunts, deaths, screams. Every day, aliens came. They chose groups of humans, released them into the forest, and hunted them for sport. Those who died fed the ground. Those who survived were hunted again. It was endless. Night came. A strange red moon rose above the pit. The humans huddled together for warmth, but Ethan stayed. Apart, his eyes fixed on the sky. The aliens above mocked them, throwing scraps of food into the cage. Like feeding animals, like feeding pets. But Ethan's mind was turning. His eyes followed every guard. His ears memorized the timing of the patrol. His hands traced the dirt, searching for weakness in the ground. Fear tried to crawl into him, but he pushed it out. He would not give the aliens what they wanted. When the others finally slept, Ethan whispered to himself, "They think this is a cage. They think this is the end. But this is only the beginning." The next morning, the aliens came. Their claws tapped against the walls of the pit as they looked down at the humans. Time for the hunt. One hissed, its voice like breaking glass. The humans trembled. The guards pointed at random faces. 10 people were dragged out, screaming, begging. The others stayed silent, their heads down, knowing their turn would come. Ethan was not chosen. Not yet, but he saw the fear in the eyes of those taken. He saw the hopelessness in the ones left behind, and something inside him snapped. He stood up and spoke. His voice was low, but sharp enough to cut through silence. "We don't have to die like this." The others turned, surprised. A woman laughed bitterly. "Choice do we have? They are hunters. We are prey." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we stop being prey." The old man who had spoken before shook his head. "You don't understand. They control everything. They have weapons, ships, power. What do we have?" Ethan raised his hand. In his palm was a sharp piece of stone, hidden since the forest. His fingers were cut, blood running down, but his grip was firm. "We have this," he said. "We have the will to fight. That is more dangerous than any weapon." The humans looked at him in silence, some with disbelief, some with faint hope. That night, when the pit grew dark again, Ethan crawled close to the wall. He pressed his hand against the dirt and whispered, "They want us to be afraid. But fear can be broken. And when it breaks, they will see what humans really are." Above, alien guards laughed, unaware that something had already changed. For the first time, in the pit of fear, one man stood without bending. For the first time, the cage did not feel like death. It felt like the start of something new. And as Ethan closed his eyes, he saw not chains, not the hunt, but the fire of resistance. Tomorrow, the aliens would release more humans. Tomorrow, Ethan would go with them. But tomorrow would not be the same tomorrow. The hunt would bleed. Asterisk. The first kill the dawn was gray when the aliens came again. Their ships hovered above the pit, shadows covering the broken humans below. The hunters pointed their spears down, choosing names without care, like gamblers picking dice. Ethan's turn had come. The alien voice hissed, "Release them. Let the game begin." Chains snapped open. The chosen humans, Ethan among them, were pushed into the forest. A gate slammed shut behind them. Above, the sky was filled with drones, recording every move. Alien crowds, far away on their home. World sheared at the sight of new prey entering the hunt. The forest smelled of damp earth and fear. Some humans cried as they ran. Others froze, too broken to move. Ethan did not run. Not this time. He crouched low, eyes sharp, scanning the trees. He whispered to the others nearest him, "Listen to me. Don't run straight. Don't scatter. Use the ground. Use the trees. We fight with what we have." But they looked at him with hollow eyes. One whispered, "Fight? With what? We are nothing." Ethan gripped the stone he had carried since the pit. His hand bled, but his eyes burned. "Nothing is all we need," he said. The hunters arrived quickly. Their tall shapes moved through the trees like shadows. Their eyes glowed, spears ready. They spoke in their sharp alien tongue, laughing as they spread out to corner the humans. One alien raised his weapon. A woman screamed and ran. The spear flew, glowing, and she fell before she could take 3 steps. The aliens roared in approval. The humans panicked, running in different directions. Exactly what the hunters wanted, but Ethan did not move. He pressed himself low into the mud, breathing slow. His eyes locked on one hunter who had separated from the rest. This was his chance. The alien bent low, sniffing the ground like a wolf. Its glowing eyes scanned the dirt. Slowly, it stepped closer to Ethan's hiding place. Ethan's heartbeat thundered in his chest, but his hands were steady. He waited, holding his breath, his body still as stone. The alien stepped past him. Now, Ethan rose from the mud with a roar, slamming the sharp stone into the creature's throat. The alien shrieked, stumbling back, black blood spraying across the leaves. For the first time, prey had drawn blood from the predator. Ethan grabbed the alien's spear as it fell, twisting it free. His arms shook from the weight, but he held it firm. The dying alien collapsed, claws digging into the ground. Ethan stared down at it, his voice cold. "You thought I was prey. Wrong." The forest went silent for a moment. Then chaos. The other hunters heard the scream of their fallen comrade. They rushed through the trees, furious. The alien audience, watching through drones, fell silent too. Never before had they seen this. Ethan raised the stolen spear, his chest rising with fire. For the first time, he was armed. For the first time, the balance had shifted. The humans hiding nearby stared in shock. One whispered, "He killed one. He killed a hunter." Ethan turned to them, his voice sharp. Do you see? They bleed. They fall. They are not gods. They are not unbeatable. They are just hunters, and hunters can be hunted. Hope flickered in their hollow eyes for the first time. The aliens closed in. 3 hunters spread out, their claws flexing, their teeth bared. They were cautious now, their laughter gone. One snarled, "Human, you will die slow." Ethan gripped the spear tighter. Fear wanted to creep into him, but he crushed it down. He moved back, drawing the hunters toward a patch of mud he had marked earlier. His mind raced, remembering every trap he had seen in the wild back on Earth. Every lesson of survival the first alien lunged. Ethan sidestepped, slamming the spear into the soft ground. The alien's foot hit the mud and sank deep, slowing its movement. Ethan yanked the spear free and drove it into the creature's chest. That it screamed, blood spraying across the trees. The second hunter charged, but Ethan rolled aside, swinging the spear wide. It cut across the alien's leg, forcing it down. The humans watching gasped. This was no longer prey running. This was a man fighting. The third alien backed away, fear flashing in its glowing eyes. For the first time in the history of the hunt, the hunters hesitated. Ethan stood in the middle of the forest, covered in blood, holding the glowing spear. His chest heaved, but his eyes burned with fire. He raised the weapon high and shouted, his voice echoing through the trees. We are not animals. We are not prey. We are human. The humans in hiding cried out with him, their voices breaking the silence. The sound rolled through the forest like thunder. Above, in the alien ships, silence turned to rage. The commander watching slammed his claws against the metal. Kill him. Kill this human now. But deep inside, even the commander felt something unfamiliar. A shadow he had never felt before. It was not anger, not pride, not control. It was fear. That day, the forest was no longer a hunting ground. It had become a battlefield. And Ethan, once the hunted, had become something far more dangerous. The first kill was only the beginning. Turning the hunt, the forest no longer whispered with fear. It roared with a new sound, the footsteps of a predator. Ethan moved silently between the trees, his stolen spear gripped tightly in his hand. Around him, a small group of humans followed, their faces tight with determination. They were no longer scared children running for their lives. They were fighters. Stay close, Ethan whispered. Use the shadows. Watch each other's backs. The others nodded, gripping their crude weapons. Broken branches sharpened to points, stones hidden in palms. It was not much, but it was enough. For days, the humans moved like ghosts through the alien forest. They set traps from twisted vines and sharp rocks. They learned to read the strange plants, the sounds of alien footsteps, and the flicker of glowing eyes in the dark. One night, under a silver moon, Ethan led his group into a narrow clearing. Wait here, he said softly. Let them come. From the darkness, the alien hunters arrived, confident, proud, and unaware. The first hunter stepped into the clearing, his glowing eyes scanning. Then the trap snapped. A hidden rope tightened around his leg, pulling him to the ground with a violent crash. Ethan and his group surged forward, their makeshift weapons striking true. Spears pierced alien flesh. Stones cracked armor. The hunters screamed, surprised and afraid. One by one, the humans fought with a strength born of desperation and hope. They moved as one, a pack, not prey. The forest echoed with alien cries. Far above, on the alien ship watching the battle, the commander's face darkened. They are organizing, he growled. Turn the hunt into war. Back on the ground, Ethan stood tall among his people, blood staining his arms, but a fierce light burning in his eyes. We are not weak, he shouted. "We fight for every breath, for every step, for freedom." His words spread like fire. The humans raised their voices, their battle cries joining Ethan's roar. From that night on, the hunt changed. The aliens moved more cautiously. They lost their careless laughter. They hunted not just for sport, but for survival. And Ethan became a name whispered in the shadows. The hunter. As days passed, Ethan's group grew. Others, inspired by his victories, escaped the pit and joined him. They shared stories of alien cruelty, but also of hope. "We fight like this," Ethan told them, "because we must. Because if we don't, no one will." His leadership was quiet but strong. He listened, learned, and taught. Every small success was celebrated, every failure a lesson. One night, while resting near a glowing alien tree, Ethan studied a torn map left behind by a fallen hunter. It showed paths, traps, and even the location of the alien base. "We have their secrets," Ethan said. "Now we strike." The humans prepared. Traps were set deeper in the forest. Ambush points created along alien patrol routes. Scouts sent to gather more information. Each move was careful, deliberate. The forest was no longer a prison. It was a battleground, and humanity was fighting back. The alien commander sent warnings. "Bring me Ethan alive," he ordered. His death will end this rebellion. But Ethan was already beyond their reach. He was not just fighting to survive. He was fighting to win. And the forest waited, silent and dark, for the war to come. Asterisk. The war of shadows. The forest was no longer silent. It whispered rumors of rebellion. Ethan moved through the shadows with his growing band of fighters. Their numbers had grown from a handful to dozens, each scar telling a story of survival. They knew the forest now. Every tree, every root, every hidden path. Tonight, they prepared for something new, a strike deep into the alien camp. The alien hunters had grown restless. Patrols doubled, fires burned brighter, and traps became deadlier. But the humans used this against them. They watched, waited, and learned. Ethan's plan was simple but deadly. They would hit the hunters where it hurt most, their weapons and supplies. Under the cloak of darkness, the humans crept through the forest. Each step was careful, every breath controlled. The first target was an alien weapons cache, hidden beneath a cluster of glowing plants. Ethan signaled. The humans struck. Silent arrows flew. Rocks smashed crates. Explosions lit the night as stolen alien tech ignited. Chaos erupted. Alien hunters scrambled, shouting orders in their harsh language. Ethan led the attack. His stolen spear gleamed as he fought alongside his people. Every alien that fell was a victory, but the cost was high. Some humans were wounded, some lost, but the fire in their hearts burned brighter than ever. Far above, the alien commander clenched his fists. His empire was cracking. "Send reinforcements," he growled. "Crush them before they become a plague." But Ethan was already gone, vanished into the shadows like a ghost. The humans gathered at their secret camp, tending wounds and sharing stories of the fight. A young woman stepped forward, eyes shining. "We can't keep running. We need to take the fight to them." Ethan nodded. "We will." This is just the beginning. That night, the forest echoed with new sounds. The clash of steel, the cries of battle, the unbreakable will of humans who refused to be prey. The war of shadows had begun. Asterisk. The predator becomes prey. The alien camp was quiet at first light. Mist curled around the sharp towers and metal walls. The hunters believed their prey was weak, broken, and on the run. But Ethan knew better. He moved silently through the shadows, watching from a distance. The camp was guarded by dozens of hunters strong, cruel and ready to kill. His heart beat steady. This was no longer a game. This was war. Ethan had studied their movements for days. He knew when the patrols changed, when the weapon stores were least protected, and where the commanders stayed. Tonight, he would strike, gathering his best fighters. Ethan whispered, "We end this tonight." They nodded, eyes fierce with resolve. The attack began like a storm. Explosions ripped through the camp. Flames licked the sky as humans fought with stolen alien weapons and their own fierce courage. The hunters screamed in surprise and fury. Confidence shattered as humans, once prey, struck back with deadly force. In the heart of the chaos, Ethan faced the alien commander. The towering hunter snarled, claws flashing. "You will die here, human," the commander growled. Ethan tightened his grip on the spear. "I am not your prey." The two clashed, steel against claws, fury against will. The fight was brutal. Ethan dodged. Sharp strikes encountered with precise blows. Blood spilled on both sides. At last, Ethan landed a heavy strike, sending the commander crashing to the ground, wounded but alive. Breathing hard, Ethan looked down and said, "This is only the beginning. We will not stop." The camp lay in ruins. The hunters fled, fear replacing arrogance. Ethan and his people had turned the tables. No longer hunted. Now hunters themselves. Fear of humanity. The sun rose over a broken forest. Smoke curled into the sky from the ruined alien camp. Silence hung heavy, but it was not peace. Ethan stood among his people, battered but unbowed. His eyes scanned the horizon, alert and sharp. They had won battles, but the war was far from over. News traveled fast. Across alien worlds, whispers spread. Humans were no longer prey. They were hunters. The alien commander, wounded and bitter, sent messages of warning. Fear gripped even the strongest alien hearts. Back in the forest, Ethan raised the alien commander's broken spear. It was a symbol now, a sign that the hunted had become the hunters. Around him, humans gathered, their faces bright with hope and strength. "We survived the hunt," Ethan said, voice steady. "Now we fight for our freedom." The alien fleets began to retreat, unsure and shaken. The balance of power had shifted. No longer could the aliens see humans as easy prey. Ethan looked to the stars, knowing this was just the beginning. Humanity had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. He whispered to the wind, "They thought we were weak. They thought we were food. Now they fear us." The forest echoed with a new sound, the roar of humans ready to fight. And the galaxy learned a lesson: never hunt a human.